talk about SEO. For those in the audience, we were chatting about working with developers and SEO experts and how usually that leads to some funny situations. I think for the SEO experts in the audience, it's something that they can relate to.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, I usually had a really great relationship with developers. Only once I had a funny situation, as you mentioned.
Yes. Okay, for the rest of the people listening, thank you for joining. I'm Terry, Chief Marketing Officer here at Hop Online. I am joined by Martina, who is a team lead here in our company. She is handling the SEO team. Super happy to have her on the team. The reason why we're chatting about SEO today is because in the last couple of months we've had a lot of clients coming in, of course, looking for this kind of services. And since this is one of the core things and core service we provide, we thought it would be a good idea to cover it alongside Martina here. Do you want to give us a quick intro about yourself and then we can dive into the topic?
Of course. So my name is Martina and I've been practicing SEO for more than 7 years now, from 2016, I believe. And I worked in several agencies, that's my dog, okay, all with a goal to gain more knowledge and learn more stuff from the different SEO industries, such as affiliate SEO. So I worked with affiliate websites, e-commerce SEO, local SEO, and today at Hop Online I am working with SaaS SEO, so software as a service. Basically, I learned a lot. In the first years of SEO, actually, I thought that I knew everything. Honestly, first year I was like, okay, so you just add some keywords, you do keyword research and optimize content, and that's it. But now I understand that I'm still learning, and there is
the more you know, the less you know.
Yeah, actually, that is so true. I love it because it's challenging, it's exciting, and ever-changing. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited to ask you a lot of questions for SEO. I don't think we'll have the time to cover everything, but I don't know much about SEO, to be honest. Most of the clients that I have worked with personally are more in the paid advertising side of things. So I am curious to learn more about it and interrogate you basically on some of the things related to SEO. I think one of the reasons why a lot of companies are shifting towards SEO services is obviously the current macroeconomic situation, the fact that a lot of companies are pulling back from paid advertising and looking for other solutions to scale, more of a long-term scale in most cases. So yeah, it is interesting to see how the market is shifting compared to, let's say, a few years ago when COVID hit and everything was about maximizing on the paid presence. And now blabbering on my side, I wanted to kickstart the conversation with 2 questions. The first one is, what are, in your opinion, the most common misconceptions that people have about SEO? Obviously, you work with many clients from different industries, and that can vary depending on the industry, but are there any that are applicable in most situations?
Yes, definitely. So one of the misconceptions most often, that is from some clients, not all of them, is, I'm sure that many SEOs will agree on this one, is that SEO guarantees instant results, which some of the companies think. So for example, client hears about SEO agency, hears about, okay, so this is an SEO service, and you can optimize your website quickly and you will rank for this certain keyword in the first position. It's always like first position. And they believe that it will immediately lead to a dramatic increase in website traffic and rankings. But as we all know, SEO takes time to show results. And it's not a guarantee that you will have an instant success, and it requires patience. For example, you also need to be aware of your current website performance. So if your website doesn't have a trust in Google's eyes, doesn't have authority, users don't have a trust in your product. For example, if you're a shopping website and you want to rank for a specific keyword, which is competitive, it has a lot of search volume, it's in the competitive market. And you think, okay, now I will optimize this category page and I will rank in the first 10 positions, but your competitors for that certain keyword from 1 to 10 position are all high authority websites with, domain authority, which is higher than 70, for example, and you're like 0.5. you can't expect that you will rank in first 10 positions, because why would Google get you there if you don't have any authority, if your users don't trust in your product? So that is something that I want to emphasize. You first need to build trust with your users, with Google, and that you can do by improving also your domain authority, EAT, and for a beginner's website, it will take time. So for in a competitive market, it will sometimes even take 2 years. But I'm not saying this to scare clients or to scare anyone. I'm just saying what the reality is there, because if your performance is okay, current performance, if you have a good authority, if users trust in you, your website, your products, and you maybe have some issues with ranking for certain keywords, then maybe you have technical issues, maybe you have on-page issues, you need to improve your EAT, and that is something that can bring you faster results, for example. So maybe you need to just create a better navigation, to have your priority pages linked to more, so to improve your site architecture and so on. Yeah, so it all depends, but definitely, yeah, SEO does not guarantee instant results. It all depends where you currently are, where you stand, in what niche you are, and how competitive your niche is. So that is one misconception.
Definitely. We have a question from the audience here. We have a question which is links over content ? I guess this this ties well to what you were just saying about building authority and building content.
Links over content. Well, I would say both. It can go one without the other. But if you have great content, and as I'm saying, in a competitive niche, but you don't have any links, you don't have authority and trustworthiness, you can't really compete with a big league. So again, it depends how competitive your niche is. So
yeah, one misconception we were just chatting about actually before going live was the amount of links you need, and I think that's also something which is commonly misunderstood. Can you elaborate a bit on what we were covering just before that?
Yeah, about links. So also many companies, but SEOs as well, believe that more links are always better, but I would say definitely quality over quantity when it comes to backlinks. So example, if you have a website that sells, I don't know, shoes, and you are gaining links from, for example, Power Tools website or pet shop website or garden and plants website. I mean, you won't get an authority as you will from the, for example, fashion magazine, then forum that discusses fashion, or I don't know, maybe a leather company which creates a leather that the shoes are created with, and stuff like that. So the links should be connected to the topic, to your niche, and definitely I would say quality over quantity. So you can have, for example, also a lot of unnecessary links to your product, to your pages, which you think will maybe help you. Like, okay, I have a lot of links, then I should have a better domain authority, I should have trustworthiness. But I mean, I don't see the quality there, because what can a pet shop talk about in there about shoes? I mean, maybe if shoes are for dogs, maybe if you sell shoes for dogs and cats, then okay, but yeah. So definitely quality over quantity when it comes to backlinks.
Are there any other misconceptions, common misconceptions?
Yeah, so other misconceptions is that many believe that SEO is a one-time task. So when you optimize the website and you do all the SEO work on it, then it's done. You don't need to return to it. So you can optimize the website and just forget about it. But in real life, SEO is actually an ongoing process. It requires constant monitoring and adjustment, so you can keep up with the changes that are happening in the algorithms and the user behavior. So for example, if you had a blog post that you added 3 years ago, and when you added it, you optimized it, everything was fine, it started ranking, but then you completely forgot about it, you don't optimize it, you don't add fresh content, but your competitors are. So maybe there were some new things happening around that topic, maybe some new experts are discussing something else. And Googlebot will, first when you publish the page, it will come and visit that page. And when you stop updating it, so you're not adding any links to that page, anything, it will stop visiting it. So sometimes when you see that some people, for example, change page title or meta description for that post, but they don't see it in the search engine results pages, like that change that they created, that's because Google stopped coming to that page. It's like an old content. So the best thing to do there is to go to the Google Search Console request tool and then request indexing again. So Google can come again and visit that page. And then you can also update it with fresh content from this year, from new experts, with new information. So some misconception is that SEO is a one-time task. So definitely not. I want to say also about if you are have a large e-commerce websites and you're constantly adding products, you're removing products, you're adding categories, removing categories, and you don't have anyone monitoring anything, you can create a lot of 404 pages, 301 pages, so broken links, internal redirects, which can decrease your user experience. It can steal your crawl budget because of the internal redirects. Then maybe your sitemap won't be optimized because you will have 404 pages, 301 pages there. And it will overall, it's not good for the health of the website. So definitely it's not a one-time task. It should be monitored and adjusted accordingly.
I have a question on this one. Is there a best practice for how often should people review, let's say, their blog content? Because you mentioned that it has to be updated regularly. Is there a golden rule for how often this should happen, or does it depend on the site, the content, maybe?
Yeah, it depends. But when you create a good site architecture as well, and when you add new blog posts, you will always create links to it, internal links to it and from it. And definitely, so when it comes to internal linking, you should always add links to your also old pages. And then if you have also backlinks added to some of your old pages, then go to the old page, maybe add some more content and link to your new pages so you can boost them with backlinks. But to answer your question, so how often, that also depends. I mean, it should be updated when you think the fresh information is coming. So maybe that information is still relevant, but I'm sure that there is something always new to add, even if it's just to add a paragraph, so you can link from that blog to another blog or to a product or to a category and so on. But definitely, and if you think that the topic or that blog post is outdated, then you should consider maybe removing it, or just do a blog pruning and removing your pages that are not relevant anymore. Yeah.
I remember early in my career, I was surprised when people were saying, SEO experts were coming and saying, we should remove this blog article from some time ago. And then the team jumps in and we're like, but we invested so much time in making it. And so it is okay to delete some things eventually. Everything has its lifespan.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have it, but if you don't have any metric there, any organic traffic, organic keywords, no backlinks, and it's been more than 6 months or a year or something, then it just don't do any favors to your website or to users. So definitely, yeah.
I wanted to follow up with another question, but before that, we actually have another question from the audience. Again, from Lega. Thank you for participating. Are PBNs dead? Are those now a waste of money?
Well, this is a gray area. If you have, I don't know if I should talk about this, but okay, if you have a good PBNs, they can't be beneficial. But I don't know, today with the Google making so many updates with the helpful content, and I'm not sure. I haven't really worked with PBNs for a long time. It was 4 years ago. At that time, they were beneficial. I mean, they did improve domain authority for some of the website that I worked for. And if you have a good PBN network, it can help. But I also think that it depends on what website are you working on. And I mean, when you create authority, when you create trustworthiness with Google and with your users, you actually won't need PBNs. PR is always better, of course, outreach, and eventually those PBNs can cost you rankings, maybe penalty. So I would not really recommend it.
And just for the people in the audience, what is PBN as abbreviation?
PBNs, that's like a network of backlinks, which, as I mentioned, it's like a gray area. It's now considered like black SEO. But usually people who want to improve their domain authority are using these PBN networks to, yeah, thank you, Lega. This is actually my old colleague. And if you want to improve your domain authority, then you can, for example, contact someone who has a private blog network with a lot of backlinks, so they can link from those blogs to your website and improve your domain authority. I mean, some of those blogs are actually can be good. They can have a domain authority like larger than 30, 40, and they can be relevant, for example, for your topic, and you can add links to it. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's a bit of a gray area there.
A gray area, yeah.
Yeah.
My next question is quite hefty, so I will probably go over time, but I do want to cover this within this slide because I think it's very well tied to the misconceptions. If you have to summarize the most common mistakes we see companies doing, obviously probably following these misconceptions that they start with, what would you say these are? Are there any that are kind of common from what we are seeing on a daily basis in our work?
Yeah, I can mention some since for these 7 years I've done a lot of website auditing, and we actually have a list of a few when we are doing Express SEO audit in our agency Hub Online. But I'm just gonna name 10 of them since we will be here all day. And for example, people are usually ignoring crawl budget, and that comes when I'm talking about the larger websites. So if you have a small website like 100, 200, 500 pages, that is fine. You don't need to worry about crawl budget. But if you have a large website, for example, e-commerce shop, news website, or I don't know, travel website, then you should consider and worry about your crawl budget, because if you have more pages, more URLs, then you have your requests in your crawl budget, then Google will not crawl all of your pages. And this is something that I saw when I was working on e-commerce websites. So what can actually cause the indexation and crawlability issue here is at e-commerce websites, it's filters. So I saw that a lot of e-commerce shops don't know how to handle filters. They are really, really tricky, honestly, because if you index them all, then it creates an issue. Because if you can imagine, if you have a lot of categories and subcategories, and all of those filters can create a new URL, which is indexable.
Yeah, so basically selecting, let's say, red shoes, blue shoes, and every color is a different filter. This creates different URLs, and that eats up the crawlability budget.
Completely eats up the crawl budget, and not only like clicking on one, but multiple filters. Then you can only imagine how fast that can go. So there, I would say there needs to be like a strategy. Which filters should be non-indexed, which should be indexed, and then maybe you should use PRG masking for some, and that's a whole another issue there. But yeah, definitely that can eat up the crawl budget. And for example, for travel or events websites, what can cause the issue there are, those calendar. When you have a calendar for the travel, so you click on dates.
Yeah.
So sometimes those links are actually creating a new link and new pages. So you can imagine how many URLs that can create. That can also be one of the issues, for example, for travel websites. And for news websites, it can be paginated pages. It can be, for example, multiple pages that are created by a single article. and so on. So yeah, the crawl budget definitely should be monitored. So when you register your website actually to the Search Console, you get 1,000 crawl budget. So Google can crawl 1,000 of your URLs. If your website is new and you just registered it to Google Search Console and you have, I don't know, 10,000 pages, then you can see how that can be a problem. So you need to create a strategy. It's an issue, yeah. You need to create a strategy. What are your primary pages? What pages should I no index for now? But your domain authority, your crawl budget is increasing with your domain authority. So by building more links, having more trust in Google, then Google will gain you more and more crawl budget, and then you can index those pages that maybe you didn't want to de-index, but you had to for the crawl budget.
Yeah, which is going back to the common misconception that it's a one-time thing. So definitely do not set up the initial infrastructure and then leave it as it is. This is an ongoing work that needs to be updated.
Definitely agree.
Let's go to the second of the 10 mistakes you mentioned you want to cover.
It's already been half an hour. I don't know how long will this take.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second one, maybe we can do 5. I'm fine with that if you want.
5 sounds a reasonable number. Let's go for 5.
Okay, yeah. So the second one is, I mean, this also has to do with SEO, but ignoring user experience. So you can optimize all you want and have a great technical side of your website, but user experience need to also be good because you're creating a website for the user. The user's goal is to go on your website and find what they're looking for. So poor website design, confusing navigation also, made without any order or priority, intrusive interstitials. This is something that I've seen on almost all of the websites that I've audited. Intrusive interstitials are large pop-ups and ads. So I see this a lot. For example, when you're looking at the website through your mobile, and you see that usually a cookie pop-up or newsletter is covering the entire screen. And
I hate that because I'm using a small phone, and usually these pop-ups are never designed well for a smaller screen phone, so I can not even close these, and it's horrible.
Yeah. As you can see, it's really frustrating for the users. It's not helping, and it usually can cost conversions. So Google usually penalizes the websites who are using these intrusive interstitials, and it lowers their conversions. So that is something that should be fixed immediately. It shouldn't be larger than 1/3 of the website. And don't dim the lights also. When you have also sometimes pop-up and you don't see content because the light is dim, so you can focus on that pop-up. That is also a bad user experience. So anything that is forcing user to react on your website, it's not good. I mean, maybe sometimes clients will say, but it is like people are clicking, of course. I mean, but they are frustrated and they may not return because they know there is something that pops up every time. And yeah, definitely that's one of the mistakes that I find most often. And I can say neglecting harmful backlinks. Even though some influential people in SEO are saying that using disavow file is not a good idea. It's like not helping anything, and as Google knows what are like malicious links and they will ignore it. But I don't believe that is actually true, because if they are penalizing, for example, those PBNs networks that Lega asked about, and like using PBN networks, building your domain authority in a malicious way, then there are also agencies who actually do this. There are agencies who are being paid by your competitor to, for example, target you with malicious websites, maybe also use some PBN network with malicious links. But yeah, definitely, I think using disavow file is beneficial, especially you can also notice when somebody copied your entire website. I had this issue in my previous agency that I worked for like 4 years ago, I think. We had a client, and the client had a really great traffic. I think it was like, I don't know, 200,000 a month, something like that, and a lot of pages. And we noticed some of the keywords started dropping in rankings. And then through Google Search Console, we noticed weird external links And then we saw that somebody was actually copying entire website, like scraping all of the content, and it was actually more than one website who were doing it. They're using some kind of code to copy all of the pages. So every time we updated something or we published new content, they scraped everything and added it to their website. And the funny thing is, even though some of our pages were actually registered in Google, like Google Search Console, we had it there, Google started ranking there. So those duplicate pages, or copied pages, and it took us, I mean, that was a long time ago. I'm sure that Google is much better at noticing this stuff and not doing that. But when you register your page, Google should know this is the original page. It is the page where the content is original, and this one is a duplicate one. It's a copied one. We shouldn't rank that, but they did. That's why I think you should do everything you can to remove those malicious links. And it took us really a long time to actually, we contacted Google and told them about it. Those are the copied pages. This is the copied website. It took a while for them to remove them from search engine results pages. So
Better
actually,
stick
I don't
to
think.
by the book rules and keep your
Yeah.
site clean as possible.
Definitely. And okay, so this was the third one. Okay, so another one is that H1 is not in above the fold. So this is something that I saw most often. So when you're looking at it with a mobile phone, and for example, your above the fold is only a banner or like an image. And when Google is crawling the website, first it looks at the above the fold. You can see that as well when you are using like a rich snippet test and you're testing how Google sees your page. Your H1 should be above the fold. This is often discussed in the SEO community. Like, is it affecting? Actually, I noticed that it does. And H1 should definitely be in the above the fold. Like Google, once it lands on the page, it should realize right away what the topic of the page is about and what is the H1, so it can rank it better.
Yeah. Funny enough, I know we had that issue with our own website when we were designing it, and this was something that it took us some time to fix. Pop Online's website. So I guess it goes back to the initial planning and making sure at the beginning when you are building a website to always have SEO in mind and make sure that all of these are covered from the beginning. So making sure that you have a, let's say, as you mentioned before, like the right infrastructure to know which filters you want to include in the indexation, to know how to design your website so you do have the H1 above the fold and above the header image. And all of these things, usually SEO is a post-factum strategy. So a lot of our clients come in, or prospects come in with like a ready site and they're like, okay, now we want to do SEO, but actually SEO should be part of the initial creation of a website, because if you don't have these things in mind, then it takes a lot more effort to integrate them afterwards, post factum.
Yeah, it actually affects everything when you look at it. And it's not like only SEO, there's like a UX design, there is conversion rate optimization. I mean, all of that works together. And I mean, the end goal is how to make this journey for the user as easy as possible and how to make them convert, actually.
Yeah. Can you share your last fifth from the list, and then we'll probably wrap up this live and do a second round, because I do want to hear the other five. You teased us here with all the issues that people encounter, so I do want to know them, but let's stick to 5 for now.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so problems with JavaScript. So this is something that we have a lot of issues with, also SaaS websites. So Google not being able to read the content, for example, which is created with JavaScript. So Googlebot tends not to scroll, or when you have like a click to load more button created with Java, and you, for example, have list of products on the category page, and you have click to load more button to load the rest of the products.
The rest of the page. Mm-hmm.
So you notice that actually they are not viewed by Google. Google can't see those links, can't see those products. And that is not good because it can create orphan pages, it can create issues with you indexing those pages because Google can't actually find them behind that button. That can also happen with infinite scroll. So if you're not using like pagination with it, infinite scroll, then Google sometimes will not see those links and will completely ignore them, which is of course an issue. And also raw HTML and rendered HTML not being the same. And that is something that also we encounter a lot. So for example, it's important for raw HTML and rendered HTML to have the same content, to have the same meta tags, H1s, canonicals as well. And this is most commonly an issue when we are dealing with client-side rendering websites. And usually we advise for them to be server-side rendering, so it's easier for them to create that raw and rendered HTML. For example, in React, when you're using React framework, then if you use Next.js with it, you can actually have more optimized website and have Google actually read everything in the HTML.
You started losing me with the last part.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
With the technical
this
aspect.
This is a bit more tech.
It's a bit technical, yeah. I was going to ask what is the difference, and I might be completely off topic here, but with the raw and rendered code that you just mentioned. But probably that's going to
a long topic.
Bring us in a more technical, in the more technical aspects. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you recap the 5 that we just mentioned, just so we can wrap up?
So what I mentioned ignoring crawl budget.
I put you on the spot here, sorry.
No, it's fine. I have my notes here. So ignoring crawl budget on larger websites, ignoring user experience, such as, for example, intrusive interstitials. Then I added neglecting harmful backlinks and H1 not being in the above the fold, and problems with JavaScript, Google not being able to read the content. That's top 5.
Thank you for sharing those. I know we wanted to cover a lot more, and as mentioned, we can chat about SEO probably all day long.
Yeah.
So we are definitely doing a second round of this chat. Thanks for everyone who joined. I hope it was useful for you, even though we didn't cover everything. We will be sharing this also in an article format, so you can read about it. And also, if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to Martina or I. I'm probably not going to be able to answer your SEO questions, but I do have Martina's email, so I can always forward you to her.
Yeah, shoot me a message.
For those interested in checking their own website, just as a heads up, we do offer this as a service. We have a free express SEO audit as well. So if you just want to have a quick check on the quality of your own website, this is something we can check for you. And yeah, let's wrap up on this note, and we'll see each other soon for a second round of this live.
Thank you, Terry. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ina. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.